Hello and welcome. Sorry, I totally forgot that after I said I would open us, that I was going to open us. Hello, welcome to Broke Wars Pod.
Jesus.
Episode 119. I am Chris.
And you had one job.
And I literally had one job, and I fucked it up. I'm here with Kate, Kristen, and Miranda on our snazzy new recording setup that it only took us 40 minutes to troubleshoot after me and Kristen spent 20 minutes troubleshooting it earlier. Life is good.
Another happy landing.
Jesus. Today we are continuing our read-through of Alphabet Squadron by Alexander Freed, reading chapters 6 through 9. And sorry, I'm just really distracted by the fact that Alphabet is italicized on the outline, but Squadron is not. And I'm just finding that very funny.
I don't like that.
It was not me.
I don't like it.
It was not me.
Okay.
I mean,
I
realistically,
specifically
it was
asked
probably
Miranda
me.
to
I
put
did
this
not
outline
do that.
together.
That's
So I had two jobs and I fucked them both up.
God.
Great. Glad
the
we're
copy pasta.
glad we're here.
Oh my god.
We are back to our regular recording this week.
Fuck you, Chris.
Thank you. What?
Fuck you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening in last week as we talked about Black Lives Matter and ways to support black protesters and the abolition of police. We hope that it was helpful to you, especially if you're a white person. And as we said last week, we are going to keep recording our usual shitty content just because everything is awful right now. And we want to keep drawing attention to police brutality and everything that is going on in racism and fandom. But also, people, for some unknown reason, do enjoy our podcast. And so we want to be able to provide what little bit of joy that we can.
I think enjoy is the wrong word.
They tolerate it.
Sure.
Like on a 1 to 100 scale, it's like a 51.
That still seems way high.
Yeah, I was
still
about to say
passing.
generous.
I don't know. How does like hate listening factor in? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And a reminder that if you are white and have questions, don't ask black people or Kate for that matter. Ask one of the three of us if you don't have anybody to ask and you want resources or you have questions about stuff.
Indeed.
And
Just
you
as a
know,
reminder.
if you need help locating the Googles, Miranda's very happy to show you how that shit works.
It's Actually, you know what? You don't even have to type in the W's.
You don't.
That's
if
true.
you-
They own the
if
internet
you
now.
Google.
Open Chrome.
You just type it.
You just type whatever in, and it's
It'll even
Google,
work in
and it's
Internet
not
Explorer.
fucking like Bing. Like if you search something on Internet Explorer, and if you're using Internet Explorer, why?
It's Edge now.
Yeah, excuse you.
That's
Well,
true. Internet
there's
Explorer's
You know, they're
Edge
above.
and there's still Internet Explorer
Oh,
because
no.
that's what we have to use at my job.
Oh my God.
no.
Despite Chrome being the official browser that they made us all download, none of our shit works on Chrome.
That's amazing. Wait, can I just say one thing about Bing?
No.
Because it's really funny because like all the old people use Bing because if you're like running ads on search engines on Google or Bing, Bing always wins.
Now this is pod racing.
I'm gonna fucking.
Honestly, Bing is the technological equivalent to the pod racing scene in Star Wars Episode 1, so...
That's why I put it in. I
So
know.
I'm drinking.
Yes.
Congrats.
Wait, let's do one. It doesn't have to be like, let's just do like one thing that you appreciated or brought you joy or something this week as a reminder that this is a very important practice in these trying times.
My dog is fuzzy and nice.
Perfect. My dog doesn't have to wear his cone most of the time anymore.
Good.
Miranda.
Am I next? Okay. Today is June 7th, which means that it is the 2-year anniversary of the Washington Capitals winning the Stanley Cup.
Nice.
Yay. And you applied to get some cats. So
Yes,
Actually
I-
just one cat, but you applied to...
I've
It's,
applied for another
it's-
one because that cat already found a nice home.
Yes.
We love that, but we hate that.
Yeah. It'd be like that. People love their cats.
Can you name your cat DJ Airhorn?
What the shit?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it. That's it. You and Quinn are not allowed to have children. I don't even care. No.
Listen, me and Quinn are going to give our kids very boring names because, like, we both value that. We're both like, our kids have to have boring names.
That's
Quinn's got a
fine.
hippie name. So.
John and Jane.
Yeah, I know. Well, Quinn's all of his brothers, him and his brothers and sisters have like hippie middle names. So
Oh my god.
we're like, they're all going to be named John Christopher, even the girls. It's fine.
JC1, JC2.
I know.
Jesus.
JC number 1 in my heart. That's a good bit. That's a good bit in our house. Sorry.
God.
Okay. Cool. Chris, do you have anything to be thankful for?
I do. I can't quite share one of them yet because I don't know when this podcast will be dropping. But the other one that I'm grateful for is our favorite breakfast place reopened for takeout. And so we were able to support them,
And
which
it
is
was
our favorite thing.
delicious.
Oh, congrats.
Thanks.
Hello there.
Listen,
Amazing.
if you can make an over medium egg and have me take it for takeout and the yolk doesn't break, we're doing great.
That's
and yet
amazing.
the yolk was a perfect consistency when I actually like cut into it. It was
Yeah,
it was a
it's-
blessed experience.
They make an immaculate breakfast
It's
sandwich.
true.
I also am an over medium egg person, so I'm with you there. I
Me and
love
Kate
it.
were talking about this yesterday, and like I went through so much of my life hating egg yolks, like just
that's
really did not like
incorrect.
them. And then, but then finally I learned you don't just eat the egg yolk; you mix it with shit. That's why it's
Yeah,
so
what?
good.
What were you just eating egg yolk? Never mind.
Well, no,
I
like-
don't. I'm not.
No, like
Oh God.
Kate, you literally agreed with me when I said this yesterday. So
I know.
Yeah, but you're
but-
talking now, and I don't.
Yeah,
No.
and you're making it sound like a stupid white person point. You're making it worse.
Yeah, you really are.
You're like, did you know that if you season food, it tastes good?
All right, listen,
You know,
that is. I am guilty of a lot of white.
some
people
of
sins. That
us,
is
some
not
of
one
us
them.
learned that.
Pepper is spicy.
Pepper, spice quote, heavy air quotes, spicy.
I work with someone who,
oh my god.
or I have worked with someone in the past, who thinks that pepper is too spicy.
Doesn't your
We have a friend
girlfriend
like that.
think everything is too spicy, Miranda?
Cursed.
No, she thinks everything's not spicy enough.
Ah. I can never remember. They sit in the same file in my brain. They really shouldn't. But that's
God.
how I feel about people who. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Great, good talk, everyone. Mom, what are you drinking? You tried to tell us earlier. I made everyone say what they were thankful for first. Oh, it's 420. Blaze it.
Just like a white person to bring up fucking Thanksgiving, am I right?
Hey, oh.
I went there. Anyway, I have regular water and also alcoholic watermelon flavored water.
Ooh.
So, yay, because it's summer.
Is that
and-
from the new White Claw packs?
It sure fucking is.
Oh my! I bought one last weekend and it was so good.
It's great.
Like I'm still kind of on the fence about the watermelon. I'm leaning to yes, but like that pack in general, I think is just very solid.
I mean, it's
need
got
to
mango.
have it. Is that the one that has mango in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I
Great.
love the
So
mango.
Quinn really likes the mango. I need to revisit it. He tried to like get me to try stuff after I had been drinking beer and everything tasted really bad. So
Oh,
that's what happens after you
can't do
drink a bunch of IPAs.
You can't
So
do that.
It's,
No, I've-
your taste buds just they're very. It's a thing. Anyway,
Yeah, I've
that
been on
sounds
the-
delicious.
The mango bandwagon since I went to this party, because apparently that's something that I do, like in the fall. And
What?
someone just brought like a fuck ton of mango White Claw.
God
You
bless.
don't wait. A party? When did you go to a party?
Oh my god.
I've been to 2 parties here.
Right.
What
just
does
snuck
this
out.
mean?
Oh my god.
No,
these are
I-
physically distanced parties.
No, this was like in the fall.
Oh,
Like
Miranda.
I said I've been on the mango train for a long time.
No, she did say that it was a
Okay.
the implication was it was a pre-pandemic party.
Okay. I
I
got scared.
It was the before times.
I know. Thank you. It was BC before COVID.
I laugh because fuck.
Everything's bad.
Cool. What are you, speaking of fuck, everything's bad, what are you drinking, Miranda?
I am drinking a beer from Blackberry Farm Brewery. They are apparently out of Tennessee. And it's
Cool.
their Fence Line Belgian style ale.
Where you get that bitch from?
The place across the street.
Oh.
Oh, by the way,
P's and Q's?
is now they're doing brunch again. They're doing brunch for takeout on the weekends.
Oh my fucking god.
We love P's and Q's.
So not a local beer, but shopping small for it. Belgian style ale brewed with large portions of wheat malt for a creamy mouthfeel and hazy straw color. I'm drinking out of the can because I'm garbage.
so am I. It's fine.
Generous additions of Huell?
Spell it?
Huell.
Well, yeah.
Melon hops lend notes of melon and strawberry along with a balanced bitterness. 5.9% alcohol by volume. I bought it on a whim this week, and it's very good.
Sounds great.
Super. Should we ask Chris or should we not let him talk?
Jury's out.
Chris, what are you fucking drinking?
I was just going to
You're
weigh in
part of
without
this
anybody asking me
podcast.
because
Oh
I'm a
my
white man.
Fucking
Um,
god.
I am drinking a lemon white claw. Lemon white claw.
Oh my
I
God.
do want to give a shout out to the watermelon though, even though I'm not drinking it because I am allergic to watermelon. But since it's artificial watermelon flavor, I can actually drink it and not, feel like I can't breathe. So that's positive.
I just don't understand
That is so funny.
how you're like allergic to watermelon. Like as Clarkeisha Kent said
It's
on
just
Twitter
water.
on Twitter the other day, it's crunchy water. What the fuck is wrong with
Aware
you?
of this.
It's lightly flavored.
I just
It is the
Lightly seasoned,
cucumber.
if you will.
It is the
Yes.
cucumber of fruits.
to be fair, Chris knew a person who was allergic to goddamn lettuce, so
I did know a person who was allergic to lettuce. It
true
was
story.
strange.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I mean, it's not that horrible. Lettuce isn't that exciting.
I know, but it was
depends on what kind of lettuce it is, I suppose. Cool. I'm drinking the Incredible Pulp from Boneyard. Blood Orange Extra Pale Ale. I'm going to read the can now. Let it be known, Incredible Pulp is the result of experimenting with a perfectly balanced extra pale ale built from a Pilsner malt platform. From there, the calm subsides, replaced with a rage of blood orange puree for an in-your-face citrus explosion of aroma and taste. Don't let the pulp overwhelm your judgment.
We love an explosion of citrus aroma and taste.
We do. Miranda, if you can get this, it's fucking great. It's from our friends at Boneyard Beer in Bend, Oregon. We love Boneyard. Their RPM IPA is one of the best go-to IPAs. Chris wouldn't like it. But it is very well-rounded. Like, that is like, if Chris ever comes around to liking IPAs, that is like a great middle-of-the-road, delicious, this is what you should go to, as opposed to like a total hop bomb. So, now that we're 87 years into this recording, does anyone want to talk about Star Wars?
No.
No,
That's
I'm
it, we're
good.
done.
This
I
has
mean-
been fun.
I think
One-
we should just stick with the outline as it was constructed by Burb.
Oh my god.
I didn't put anything in the outline today, but I also was doing other pod work and told somebody to make the outline because I was like, otherwise it's not going to happen. It's fine. Everything's fine.
No, we have Chris and I have no comment regarding the two of you except that you never fucking make outlines. Anyway,
Hey, it's fine. It's
I did a really good outline once.
so speaking of dead friends,
It's not over yet.
Jesus. Let's talk about all the fucking. We're like halfway through this book, and I have lost count of the number of people who have died.
it's like all
pilot-wise.
of them.
Yes.
So many.
Yes. I knew. I said in the first fucking episode, I was like, when's Satanik going to die? Because I just knew he was going to. I did not expect it to happen, honestly, in the first half of the book, but it happened, and I was like, there he goes.
I figured that was going to happen because Chris was so silent last episode. He was like,
Yes.
it's going to be like in the first 2 pages of the next week's reading. Also, to be fair, I think all of us actually did the reading for when we thought we were supposed to record. So, like, I haven't. It's been a while since I've read this.
That's true. It's been a solid week and a half.
Yeah,
fair.
and there's nothing that's happened in the last week and a half. So, like,
Oh
this
yeah,
was the
absolutely
only thing
nothing.
I've been thinking about.
There's really nothing taking up brain space.
Cool.
Yes.
Great times.
So
Great.
yeah, just a lot more people in the Star Wars universe losing their friends and their found family, which is not a horrible thing to happen to you in the slightest.
PTSD in my Star Wars.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I really thought, I was like, maybe it's called Alphabet Squad because somebody dies during the first half with every letter of the alphabet.
I mean, that is the Alexander Freed way.
That would
so.
The funniest Easter egg.
Oh my fucking god!
What struck me particularly about Sadanik's death, but also about the other members of Hound Squadron and Riot Squadron, was how like not quickly in terms of the scope of the book, but just like immediately they died. Like it was very much like Sadanik was like doing a maneuver and like killing people, and then he died. Like whereas like Star Wars, I feel like we're all used to like very Han Solo death, where like he steps onto the platform, you know he's dead, and then he talks to him, and you still know he's dead, and he gets stabbed, and you know he's dead, and then he
Thanks.
touches Kylo Ren's face, and you know he's dead, and then he falls for another 5 to 10 seconds. Like Star Wars doesn't do quick deaths.
That is so completely and totally true. I mean, Yoda was on his deathbed, fucking like yelling at Luke from underneath his potato sack for like 10 years
Yeah.
before he finally just like kicked it. But yeah, no,
Yoda,
I mean,
you can't die. I can watch for the next 15 minutes.
I know, literally.
Took Anakin a solid 22 years to die.
It's
That's sad man. But yeah, I think I mean, as we have said before when we were discussing Twilight Company, Alexander Freed is the king of just like super realistic depictions of war, and this is like no. This is it's the same in this book. It's like that's at least from what I have read and heard from war veterans in our universe. It's like that. Like your friend is there 1 second, and you turn around like 30 seconds later, and they're on the floor bleeding, and they're dead.
Yeah, and with that, like, especially in the middle of a battle, and especially in a battle in space, like, you can't look over and see and have it, like, sink in that your friend is dead. It's like...
you're just seeing explosions.
There's an explosion, and, you're in the middle of a battle. You don't have time to process it. You have to just kind of keep going, or else you're going to get dead. And, like, there's nothing there to kind of... And they do eventually have the funerals for the folks, and they say, oh, I'm not remembering the stuff they do in this book very well, but
They
like,
do different stuff,
yeah,
but they have funerals. Keep going. Sorry. Just
yeah,
trying
they
to help.
no, I don't have like a good way to end this point.
They
It's
have,
just
like,
like this is
memorials, yeah.
shitty.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's fucking terrible.
Right, and then of
Yeah.
course the nature of war, and especially in a rebellion, is that it's just like, well, they died, on to the next, I guess. And you've got no breathing space, and I think, and in a lot of ways, I mean, well, in a lot of ways, I think this is true for a lot of people who experience trauma. You just kind of have to keep running, and if you stop, you are like feel like you're gonna fall apart, and that's, I mean, God knows that's what like Leia did. She just threw herself into her work and just never really gave herself the space to process like everything that had happened to her.
Yes, and this is not to make light of any of this, because I feel like if I was just gonna make the point that I was gonna make in the way I was gonna make it, y'all would have just laughed. But it's true. And like all the while, a bunch of those people are gay and trans and queer. It's just crazy that it's just like real life.
Right.
We
Fancy that.
we talked a little bit about this last episode, but just like, yep, guess what? A bunch of those people who are dying around you were gay.
Yeah. And it's a different perspective we get in this book, because even in Star Wars books, generally if someone dies, there's lead up, and then there's like dealing with it, and like it's generally at least a few paragraph thing, as opposed to Sadanik, for using him as the example. where he was like, first half of a sentence he was there, and second half of a sentence he was gone, and then we were still moving on to the rest of the fight because that's what we had to do. And it's interesting because it's this additional trauma of not just losing people, because you know you're going to lose somebody. It is famously not Sarpees, but the not getting to say goodbye is what's really fucking people up. I feel like, particularly Chas. Like, Chas has lost at this point her entire squadron twice.
Yep. Well, and it's like, it's this thing where people are afraid to make connections, but they know if they don't make connections, like, they'll die. Like, they know that these are the people that they need to, sorry, when I say people, I mean beings in Star Wars. These are the people that they need to rely on and need to trust, and, like, we see what happens when they don't, not to rush us to the next point, but we see what happens when, like, you don't trust the pilots that you're flying with when you're flying in a squadron. It's like you don't get to go play in the sandbox with the other lasers, right? It's like yes, all of these missions are dangerous, but they're pilots. They want to go do them, and we see what happens when, like, they refuse to make connections or keep themselves from doing that. But, like, that's such a normal, again, I'm going to say human thing, but, like, we're talking about Star Wars here. So, like, that's such a normal human thing to say, I can't make that connection because all these people are going to die, and then, like, have life laugh at you for not doing that because it fucks everything up when you don't, like, value and recognize the people around you.
Couldn't be
Yeah.
Nath.
But also, like, what the fuck is the point if you're, like, not making friends? Like, you're gonna be so depressed anyway. Like, you're living through literal hell in fighting this war. Like, you can't just say, oh, I can shoulder this and, like, go about your life. It doesn't work like that. Like,
Oh, Miranda, but are you reading the book? They absolutely can say that. It's very funny.
they do say that, but it doesn't fucking work.
Sure
And
doesn't.
they all have very deep depression.
Depression? My Star Wars.
Couldn't tell by the fact that Erica is not eating or sleeping or doing anything besides trying to, like, scream at people to do better, which, funnily enough, does not work.
Erica, when's the last time you slept? Don't fucking worry about it. It's none of your goddamn business. And then she's like, when was the last time I slept or ate?
I know.
New phone, who dis?
Oh, Erica. But yeah. Somebody, like, just popped this point in here, which I think is a great one about.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, talk about it, because
Yeah, so, like, we see this, like, people, folks, beings are, like, fighting this war, and it's depressing, and they're losing all their friends, and, like, you just kind of are, you just have to get up and keep going every day. But something that, there's a really nice point in the book that kind of touches on this, not really in a, like, they have a nice long discussion about it, but this is happening on both sides of the war. Like, Erica still thinks about her former, it was like the major, the guy she really liked.
Yeah,
Keys.
Major Keys. Or
Keys,
how are we
yeah.
saying that? And by we, I mean Kristen. How is it said in the audiobook?
Chris, that is hilarious that you think that I made a note of that and remembered, but I can look. Listen,
but
you can't. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine.
oh my god.
when she was on the Empire side of things, she was having these feelings like, it fucking sucks when your friend dies in war, or when somebody you like dies and look up to dies and all of that. But there's a moment where they're all just kind of in space, like, defending one of the big ships, and Will, like, puts out a wide beam, just like, is anybody out there? And then he just starts, like, casually talking to one of the TIE pilots that they know from their battle, and, like, recognize, he's talking to the guy about, like, their issues with flying, and the guy says something, he's like, oh, I know which fighter that is, like, which TIE fighter, because I know that we did this to him. But they're just, like, chatting because they can relate about this, which is super depressing and like the Christmas shit in World War One.
Yeah.
Like we're all killing each other, but like we're gonna take a quick break, play some soccer, sing some songs, and then we're gonna wake up in the morning and start killing each other again.
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
Fuck. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's that, and then at first I was like, oh, Will, you're so soft. You're like, and they're making fun of him, and he's having this conversation, and then the guys just start telling him a creepy story about how he's going to be destroyed and is insignificant, and the fucking like giant space cluster that they're in is gonna fucking eat him, and he's just like, well, that was a bad time. Poor baby Will.
I don't know why they're fighting the Empire. They all seem fine.
I know they're
It's
just
a boring conversation anyway. Really.
swell people. But no, I think that's a great point, and you kind of, I mean, thinking about it from the standpoint of like the point that Miranda's trying to make, you almost understand. I think it's Blink that he's talking to. You almost understand where Blink is coming from, because like, of course, he's also fucking furious at these people for the way they just picked apart the Empire, and by picking apart the Empire, they probably killed a whole bunch of his friends as well. And Will's like Chas especially is traumatized from just being hunted by these people and knowing that everyone in Riot and Hound squadrons know that any of them could be next in terms of them picking them off and then jacking their hyperspace coordinates. So it's just kind of like a matter. It's almost horror movie feel. While the Hellions Dare was being chased around, it was awful.
That's a great point. Also, like, I know that we'll talk about it, but just like that's such a testament to how good the writing is. The fact
seriously.
that he can make it feel like a fucking horror movie in the middle of my Star Wars. I'm like, oh, wow, that is something that happened.
Totally.
Good job doing it right.
And
Sorry,
it's so interesting
I'm just like,
because-
yes, it's fucking good writing. It's absurd.
It's also fascinating to me that like how the TIE pilots were so mentally prepared for like this situation, because like you think about Star Wars and like the Rebel pilots that we know, like the ones that are named and that we like hear a lot about, aren't generally the expendable ones. Like, and that's the whole thing with X-Wings. Like, they have shields, they have torpedoes, they have hyperdrives, like, whereas TIE fighters are like essentially like a flying shoebox. Like, you have an engine and you have weapons, and that's literally it. Like, you don't even have life support.
It's
And
a flying
I think
egg, Chris.
that's something that Erica mentions, or that like she's thinking about in this section when she's flying her. I almost said plane.
Just plain.
But like she's comparing that, she's thinking about how slow it is to maneuver. But like there's shields and like decent weapons, and the TIEs had decent weapons, but that it's literally about speed and maneuverability, and you lose a TIE. We got a whole fucking place that like makes them in bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's
that's
why
something
nobody
that-
listens to Thrawn for some reason.
Right? And
Dude,
that's something
tell me
that we
about it.
talked a little bit about the TIE Fighter Marvel comic last week. Just the fact that it exists. And that's something I kind of would have loved to get from that, and just like the different view of like everybody knows that TIE fighters are expendable. That's why you're TIE fighters. Whereas like the Rebellion, it's like every pilot matters and every ship matters even more because you don't have that many of them. And so it's an interesting dichotomy to me that like Will, when put in that situation of they're the one getting picked off, is like in Chas are like very not stable, essentially, and like not able to cope with that situation. Whereas the TIE fighters are like literally every time we take off, we could die at any moment.
Yep. Also, like they're built so easy to destroy, and like also so that when they get destroyed, they destroy a lot of other things. I'm like, why is this just two pieces of paper with an egg in the middle? Like, who did this?
Literally.
That's what it is.
Literally.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
basically a
god.
paper airplane with an engine.
Yes.
And the thing too is that like, the folks who are flying the TIEs, these Imperial pilots have been like training for this, and they are fully aware, like, that's just their job. Like there's probably not a whole lot of emotion outside of like, I really love flying, or maybe they have some that they're pushing way down because you're not allowed to have feelings in the Empire. But like Will's out here, you know, like I can't imagine that poor baby in a TIE fighter
Oh God.
with like no defenses. Like he's got so many feelings. He's very soft. He's got these ideals. He wants to go home. But like he has this ship and it's got shields and defenses and it's more than, you know, a big box that can fit a human in it, just kind of, you know, flying through a rainstorm.
He talks to it.
He does. They're friends.
Yeah. No, it's God. Everyone I just want to get like everyone leave Will Larkalone tattooed across my body.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting because it's like the Empire is less than the sum of its parts, and like obviously the Rebellion / New Republic is like more than the sum of its parts when we like talk about all of these things. And I think that just like goes back to what's expendable, quote quote, or like what's treated as expendable and what's not. This is only tangentially related, and we can talk about it later. But aren't there? Don't X-Wings not have hyperdrives, or the old ones didn't because they needed the rings? I'm just thinking about the Clone Wars cartoons.
They do.
So
The Clone Wars, those weren't X-Wings, those were ARCs.
Okay, great. Thank you. I knew you would have the answer, and I was very confused for a long time about that.
no, you're fine. I mean, just keeping in mind, Luke got to Dagobah in his X-Wing.
Yes,
so.
yes. And I was like, that's part of why I was so confused.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me ask my stupid questions about
Oh my God, you're
things
fun.
in Star Wars.
Yeah, I feel like I think we get a little bit of the kind of kamikaze TIE fighter pilot mentality from Iden in both the Battlefront book and the game, but just Chris, going back to your point, as far as that goes, we don't get a lot of it elsewhere, I want to say, but
I mean, I think you do and you don't, right? It's like, I think how to make this a salient point rather than just tripping over words. I think like even the TIE fighters that that Will is like chatting with, I think they can, even though they're like not saying we're expendable, we will also be blown up at some point. I think just like their attitudes about like the Empire will win at like all, just, you know, no matter the cost. I think that's like kind of built into the way that they think. Like they might, I mean, maybe I'm expendable is something they think when they hook into the TIE fighters, but like that's certainly something they know as part of the Empire is like, no one gives a shit about me.
gotta love
individually.
that. Yeah, gotta love that academy conditioning. Super
Yay!
And it's worth noting too that like the rebellion doesn't have people to spare. Folks just being to spare. Like there are so many pilots, you know, it's hard to get like a big organized movement against the Empire, but the Empire just kind of yoinks people off of planets and is like, congratulations, you're in the army. If you're smart, we might teach you how to fly a plane.
God.
And like they're why can't I think of an actual thing for this other than sphere of influence? The Empire itself is so vast. There's so many systems in it, just so many planets. Like they can pull someone. They do like people because they're space racist.
Yay.
But like it doesn't matter if they lose a squadron. They can throw another one out there. There's a point there.
Yep. There you go.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Oh my God.
Thanks for coming to my Space TED Talk.
Speaking of squadrons, so we've been talking about them all along, but just thinking about the formation of Alphabet Squadron, just like born from the dregs of, trauma, PTSD, extreme cynicism, probably wanting to die, revenge.
Hating each other.
Yep, it's great foundation. Really, really lovely.
Yeah, the Alphabet Squadron is literally the island of misfit toys of the New Republic. They're just like, you know how to fly this. And I see you also hate the Empire, so we're going to make you do this with other people that probably hate you, and you guys can figure it out. And they're not good at doing that.
I also love how they're like, BYOS, bring your own chip.
Oh my god.
And it's like, where'd you get this X-Wing? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Jesus.
I don't know. What X-Wing?
I found it.
The droid took it.
Okay,
Droid's holding me hostage.
you said X-Wing. I heard sex swing. And I was very
That's,
confused. I was like,
BYO sex swing.
that's a great chair? What?
That's the groovy X-Wing.
Oh my
That's what Max
god.
got in his quarters.
All right, somebody say something mature. Jesus.
It's not mature, but
maturity on my Star Wars Book
it's
Wars
not
podcast.
mature at all. But
Oh,
I was
fuck.
just thinking about the scene where they're the first time they meet Chas and Will, and just like thinking about the fact that they've been in their fighters for like a solid 2-3 days.
Ugh.
So they had definitely pooped themselves.
Great, thank you.
Oh, great.
That's just.
You're welcome.
War has a lot of poop that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Great.
Like the guy who's
Like, that's
in
how
the
your
tower
parents-
at Yavin.
That's how your parents met, Miranda, around the
By
poop
pooping.
the poop
No,
barrel.
that was the honeymoon photo. Was the poop
Sorry.
barrel?
What?
That's very strange.
It's not because army.
Still, no, it's still very. It can be a regular, pun intended, thing without not being strange.
We hope it's
I-
regular.
I'm so upset.
I do love about Alexander Freed. He just like absolutely refuses to call it a refresher, and
Yeah.
he did this in Twilight Company too.
Yes.
It is a fucking bathroom.
Really funny.
Oh God.
Cool.
Speaking of poop, but yeah, no, we have cobbled together our very best people, and by that I mean literally everyone in the squadron is tired and wants to die. So funnily enough, when people are tired and want to die and expect to die, furthermore, it's kind of hard to get them motivated and tell them what to do and get them to give a flying fuck.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
true.
good. They're really bad at their jobs.
Yeah, it's not super great. Mm-hmm. And poor Erica. I say poor Erica, but like she needs space therapy, and her space therapy is actually a spy, so that's not helpful.
You have to be
Not
honest
great.
with your space therapist, but also it's kind of a trap because your space therapist is a spy. I
It's a
don't
trap.
recommend having a spy as a therapist.
Yeah, funnily enough, not great for provider client
Transparency and
rapport,
actual
etc.
helpfulness.
I don't think that droid's following HIPAA.
No space
Regulation.
HIPAA in
what is
my
space,
New
Space-
Republic.
okay, what
Space
is what
HIPAA.
is space HIPAA? But yeah, so Erica had these like she defected and she's very tired. She's like, well, maybe at least she goes up. She's very Black Widow about it. Got some red in her ledger. Would like to wipe that shit out. And she's like, cool. I'm great. I get to prove my leadership skills. And everyone's like, bitch, what leadership skills?
No, thank you.
Yeah, like she's like, this is everything I ever wanted. This is my chance to prove myself. I get to be in charge, and it doesn't. It's not really all that she thought it was going to be cracked up to be.
Yeah, and I think too, like, we touched earlier on, like, nobody fucking trusts each other, and they have no right to trust each other. And again, like we discussed, that makes it really hard to be an effective squadron. But they're individually, they're all like, I still want to go into my ship and fly around space and kill some fucking Imperials and, the folks above them in the, the command structure, this hierarchy of the New Republic's like, we're not going to let you do that. Like,
Are you fucking crazy?
You guys couldn't do this basic fucking, like, live training mission where you just have to take out some mines. Like, you're fucking grounded.
Like,
You
yeah.
are not going to
rules
fight.
here.
You're not going to fight TIE fighters. That's not allowed. Go to your room.
Go to your
Think
room and-
very hard on what you did.
And to make it even worse, and Kate touched on this, but just to continue with it, it is really hard to run a squadron filled with people who like want to die. Like, not like have a death wish, but like they have nothing left to lose and they don't really have anything to gain either. So they have no motivation to follow you. Like, you look at Chas and how she just like is blatantly ignoring Erica. And Erica's like, I will court-martial you. Or no, Erica's like, I will not let you fly. And Chas is like, okay. And Erica's like, I will court-martial you. And Chas is like, okay. And Erica's like, you could die. And Chas is like, I'm going to get another drink. Like, it's hard. Like, it's kind of like looking at government, it's kind of like the Trump syndrome where, like, when telling somebody no doesn't work, if you don't have anything to back that up that they care about, it's really hard to stop them. Like, when pilot norms or governmental norms are violated and there isn't actually reasoning behind it to enforcing it, it is really hard to get people to listen to you.
Besides the fact that everyone knows that Erica's so hungry to prove herself, and when they can smell that on you, that's not helpful either.
Yeah, it's very much a you need us more than we need you situation.
And I also think that, like, the point in the war that this is happening plays a lot into it. Like, they've been at this for years. Regardless of which side they started out on, the war is long, it's still dragging on, but also the Emperor's already dead. Like,
Quote
as
unquote
far
already,
as,
quote unquote dead.
yeah, heavy
Somehow.
air quotes.
You mean the
Like-
Emperor has a new groove?
Fucking, oh my god!
Sorry,
gonna
go ahead, make a
fucking-
point,
There's a
Miranda.
llama
Sorry.
next to the call
he
somewhere.
he has a new groove on the sex wing.
No!
And title.
No! No, we already established Palpatine does not fuck. No!
He spawns, duh.
That's what makes the groove new.
Blah, 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 blah.
But, like,
No wrinkly potato sack.
oh no, not going there. But as far as like,
Trying to make like a real point.
Oh my god, poor Burb. Yes, please. Go on.
as far as we're concerned, like, if you just want to look at the films, like, the second Death Star was destroyed. The Emperor is somewhere. Possibly alive, possibly not, possibly in a dream state, who's to say? People across the galaxy, like, all the planets are celebrating, and these folks are out there still fucking fighting the war. Like, there's no end in sight. Like, theoretically, they should have already won, but for some reason that hasn't stopped the fighting.
Sorry, I'm just imagining Palpy now as like that demon on The Good Place who got hit with that whatever the hell it was and just turned into a bucket of goo.
Glenn.
Yes, thank you. He's Palpatine's bucket of goo. It's fine. Sorry.
I mean, that would be an
That's-
upgrade.
Well, anyway. But
Good talk.
yes.
Great. Kate, can you take the next point?
I sure fucking can. I sure fucking can. So I know we're all shocked I managed to withhold myself from screaming about this on the first episode, but like the first like 2 words in part 2 of this motherfucking book were Hera Syndulla, and I was like, yes! Like I knew she was gonna be in this book, and I, you know, if you follow me on Twitter, which don't do that, but if you follow me on Twitter and you had followed me back when they announced this book and they announced Hera was in it, I lost my entire fucking mind. Like it was like
I need to go back and
quite
like
literally.
find those and retweet them because they were so good.
You can't do that though because I delete my tweets like every 6 months. It's fine. Just in case they say
It's very
something
smart.
stupid. Yeah. Anyway, so you know, I was pumped, like knowing that I was gonna get to see her, and I went through part 1, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I understand why she doesn't pop up in part 1 because like let's take some breathing space and fall in love with these horrible people who make up Alphabet Squadron. But yeah, no. Then he brings her in, and I was fucking thrilled, and also really fucking emo. My friend at Spec7 on Twitter, Amanda, she had sent me. She's read this book before, and when she was reading it, she sent me all the like really emo bits about like Hera missing the ghost and like the family, the crew of the ghost, and she was just like, yeah, fucking look at this shit, and I was just like, great, I guess I'll cry and then throw myself into the sun. So I knew they were there, but that did not stop me from wailing profusely, as Chris will tell you. Chris is nodding, which is really helpful for a podcast. He's nodding some more. Great.
It's an audio medium.
Listen, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm being polite.
Shh, fuck you, bitch. So yeah, I was super excited to see her, but also I think she's a really interesting character, especially in light of the end of Rebels, which I normally don't like to talk about for reasons that might be obvious to people who have been listening to this podcast for a while. Jedi Knight does not exist. We don't talk about that. But anyway, I thought she was an interesting character to bring in specifically into a story about like this ragtag band of motherfuckers, honestly, who are trying to build a squadron, but more than that, like, just Hera's had quite a bit of experience in bringing together misfits and cobbling them into a family, except Alphabet Squadron is really not a family right now. So yeah, I just basically wanted to talk about like why this character in this specific story, which I started talking about a little bit, but I think there are other reasons as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's good to see that, you know, like at this point, it's General Syndulla. Mm-hmm. Like she's been through the war. She's seen some shit, you know, like she is less tolerant of shenanigans from some dumbasses flying around. You know, at this point, like, she's just been part of this movement for so long, and it's like, we need to fucking finish this. Please stop being dickheads and, like, listen to each other.
She's so tired. She is fucking exhausted, and you can, you know, see it in her body language and the way she talks about things. And also, she's a mom now. This is, like 4 odd years after the battle scare. So like Jason's fully a toddler.
Look at the size of that thing.
Oh, God.
It's a child.
A child. Oh my God. Jesus.
That's also, I feel like Hera is like the perfect example of like doing the opposite of failing up. Like she is succeeding down. Like they are looking at Hera's career and being like, wow, you can really get something out of nothing when you are put with fucking morons. Look at Ezra. So they're like, we're going to put you in charge of the stupidest people we possibly can because you are going to do a great job with them.
I know. They literally were like, yeah, so you know how you are Other Space Mom? We're going to do that to you again. Here are your new children. She's like, she just looks at Alpha Space Squad and she's just like, fuck.
You defeated the level 20 idiots. Here's some level 30 idiots for you.
Fuck. Poor Hera.
Something out of nothing in my Star Wars.
But I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
But we haven't read the rest of this book, and for God's sakes, it's going to be this is the first of a whole ass trilogy that Alexander Freed is writing. So I have no doubt that she's going to be able to pull something again out of an empty magic hat. But I think it's interesting the way she, despite the fact that she is fucking exhausted, I think there's something about her character that without fail will find the good in someone and pull it out and make them responsible for it. And I really cannot wait to see her do that again with this band of goddamn weirdos.
They're just they're I'm sorry, that one was a mistake, but you can have it anyway. Yeah, they're just really the worst. They're just I love them, but they're horrible. I was gonna say they mean well. They don't. They really don't mean well, and I'm gonna retract that statement. I don't know. They are a group of beings. That is something that I can say about them. They are in the New Republic.
They are capable pilots, and somewhere deep down inside, they have, at minimum, half an ounce of feelings.
Look at you giving people credit, Kate.
Unclear about Kairos, to be fair.
Growth.
I love Kairos. She's so scary. She
I
could.
know.
She could
great.
fucking.
That's met with all of the love and respect in the world.
I mean, my type is women that can kill me. So.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
It's anyway.
Same.
Hashtag Yennefer Vanderberg.
Woo.
Hi.
Sorry, Witcher reference.
Yep. It's all Witcher 2 is coming out at some point. Mom's excited.
It's coming out they're starting pre-production again, so you know what? Everything is great.
Yay.
But yeah, no, poor Hera pretty much always has her work cut out for her, but I can't wait for the inevitable moment where she just starts yelling at people, because at a certain point she's just gonna be like, you know what?
I feel like she's already started yelling at people.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure just in life she has yelled at a multiplicity of people, but at some point she's just gonna give one of her inspiring speeches, and by that I mean tell you that you fucking suck and you better shape the fuck up.
Yes.
So
Better shape up.
Good. Great.
On the note of sucking and shaping the fuck up, thank you for listening.
Fucking fuck.
To this episode of the Book Wars Pod.
Said what I said.
Continue to stay inside unless you are going to a protest. Also, a note on last week's episode on resources to look up for people who want to become anti-racist and support the abolition of police.
And you should want to. Otherwise,
Go
yourself away.
And stop
Go
listening.
away, please.
We noted on Twitter that after recording and after releasing, we actually learned a lot more about the conversation around the hashtag 8Can'tWait and Campaign Zero, and that there's a lot of black activists that are actually really against that structure, that plan, and some of the people behind it. We did see that in kind of as a response to that, some activists have put together hashtag 8toAbolition and 8toabolition.com, which is kind of a direct response to, do you like things that you can easily put on a flashcard? Here are things that will actually work and help to abolish police. So we encourage you to check that out.
they got some sweet ass Instagram graphics on their website.
Love a
so
good graphic.
Tell your friends, especially if they're white.
Yeah. And continue to uplift black organizers' voices, just black folks' voices as they're going through all this.
If you're going to a protest, wear a fucking
Yeah,
mask.
continue to center non-white people, and specifically black people, as this continues, hopefully into the coming weeks, because 1 week, we're not done. Our next episode is going to be continuing Alphabet Squadron by Alexander Freed, reading chapters 10 through 14. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod, and bookwarspod@gmail.com if you want to email us. We're going to keep our social feeds very geared towards sharing resources and uplifting voices of people who are either involved with the protests or involved with the prison abolition movement, because that's what's really important right now. but hit us up if you have any questions about that or Star Wars, because we're here. In the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe to both us and the Tasha Station Radio mega feed. And for the foreseeable future, we're not going to be asking people to join our Patreon, join the Tasha Station Patreon, or give us coffee. Please donate to black-led organizations, whether you want that to be A2 Abolition, whether you want that to be to individual organizers, or to Black Visions Collective, Black Youth Project, all these amazing organizations that we shared last week. Please, if you have any money, don't give it to us, give it to them.
Yeah, and furthermore, think about how you can shop black-owned businesses in your everyday life. One of the things that I have discovered recently, because I'm a hoe for hoarding small, cute, and shiny objects, I discovered there's Jesus Christ. There's a Black Pin Makers Instagram where they just kind of like collect and advertise black folks who create art and then turn them into enamel pins, and I really like enamel pins because I'm secretly a crow and I collect them. So one of the people I found through that page is Teal Teacup. She has a Patreon where she'll send you like cute things every month, which like it's $15. I might be a student, but I can still spare $15 to support a black artist. So like there are small things you can do. There are all kinds of ways you can get involved. So just like think about just how you can integrate any of like those sorts of things into your everyday life.
Absolutely. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. For Kate, Kristen, and Miranda, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you next week.
Did we have any air horns on this?